In today's video, we're going to be debunking the Ravens paradox, and we're going to be diving deeper because I think there's some really big logic errors here, even with Aristotle. So let's get right to this. This is the Ravens paradox right here. It's these 5 statements, but I want to give some background info so it makes a bit more sense. I want to have a very clear, simple, and quick explanation. So let's get to this. We'll make it as fast and clear as we can. So there's 2 ways we can prove something. So let's say I have a statement, and the statement is, I rolled a 6 with my die. Okay, that appears to be true. It looks like I did roll a 6 here. Okay. The opposite statement would be, I didn't roll a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, and I think it's also important to add into that and I rolled the die. Otherwise this statement contains information that this statement does not. So if we prove this opposite statement, does that prove that you rolled a 6? Yeah, it does. If I didn't roll a 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5, and I rolled the die, the only remaining possibility is that I rolled a 6. Therefore, proving this statement. Let's say I find evidence. I find evidence that I didn't roll a 1. I find evidence I didn't roll a 2. I find evidence I didn't roll a 3, 4, 5. Finding evidence to support this opposite statement is the same thing as showing evidence that I rolled a 6. So is this a bird? And our statement is all ravens are black. Okay, so far so good. We're gonna try to investigate this. So step 2 is we're gonna look at this statement, which is that if something is raven, then it's black. Okay, think about it for a bit. It's the exact same thing as step 1. No problem so far. It's just another way of phrasing. So opposite equivalent is if something is not black, then it is not a raven. That makes sense. If all ravens are black, then if something is white or blue or red or green, it can't be a raven because all ravens are black. So if something's not black, then it's not a raven. Check. Okay, good. All this logic seems to check out so far. Now, step 4 is observing non-black things, therefore provides evidence that ravens are black. Yeah, that's right. Okay, so just like when we observe there's no stars or there is stars outside, right? If we observe there's a moon or not moon, that'll help us confirm whether it's daytime, even though these things have to do with night, right? Okay, check. That sounds good so far. Now, if I look at a random blue table, a green tree, or white house, I am therefore learning that ravens are black. This seems bizarre. How can I possibly learn the color of a raven by looking at these random things which are totally unrelated? Okay. Well, this logic seems weird, but it's more or less right. So that's the Raven paradox. If you want to think about this paradox, try to figure out how to debunk it, because that's what we do on this channel. We solve paradoxes, right? So if you want to try to solve it, pause the video. You can think about it for a bit. And it seems weird on the surface, right? Like if I look at a green tree, how am I figuring out that ravens are black? Okay. So I'm going to say the answer in 3, 2, 1. Now here's like this here is all of the objects, all of the non-black things in the universe. Okay. A lot of them, billion different things here, right? So this is all non-black things in universe. Okay, so, and then I guess we're gonna have our ravens over here. I'll make them gray because I guess if I make them black, you won't see them. So we have our ravens over here. Okay. Now we're gonna go through every non-black thing in the universe. Okay, we're gonna go through every tree, every bit of water, anything that's not black. We're gonna go through here. Eventually we get to the end of it and we don't find any ravens. Okay, so we go through all this and there's no ravens in here. We went through every non-black thing and there's no ravens. Then that means there's only one of two possibilities. Either ravens only come in a black variant, or, and this is important, and this is why I think the logic actually has some serious flaws, ravens don't exist. Okay? So the solution to the paradox is that number 5 is just simply true, and it's counterintuitive because there's so many things in the universe, right? There's like a billion objects in the universe, so observing a green chair or the blue sky doesn't give us a whole lot of evidence, right? But as we go through every little thing, eventually, once we go through everything, we go through every single non-black thing, then it does prove that all ravens are black or that they don't exist. But additionally, I think the wording of the paradox is actually flawed itself, because the wording says, by observing non-black, non-ravens, we can determine if ravens are black. That's not right, okay? Because let's say there was a green raven, okay? This green thing is non-black, but it is a raven. So we're not interested in this. We're gonna ignore it in our observations, right? And if we do that, we're gonna come to this conclusion that ravens only exist in a black variant, but it's not true, because there is a green raven. If we want to prove all non-black things are non-raven, then the observation we have to make is to observe all non-black things. You cannot know the state of all non-black things without observing all non-black things. This should make very good sense. Now, Hempel is proposing this incorrect logic that in order to prove that all non-black things are not raven, we would be observing non-black, non-ravens. This is the correct observation we'd have to make. And that's obviously not the correct observation. It's I think this is the trick that really confuses people. All right, and I think this is equivalent to observing only black, only ravens in order to prove all ravens are black. That's obviously not right. If we observe only black, only ravens, right, then we're only looking at these guys, and that doesn't prove that all ravens are black. It just proves that some ravens are black, right? And I think that's a really good equivalent, actually. That's probably a really good equivalent to demonstrate the error he's making in his observation.